स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्य देशतारिणे ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देकं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पदे गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसूते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ईश्वरा परम कृष्ण सच्चिदानंद विग्रह अनादिरादिर् गोविंदा सर्व कारण कारणम। Hare Krishna. By the causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So we have successfully finished 18 slokas in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So being Saturday evening in US and Sunday morning in India, we are in the 5th chapter now. So we finished 18 slokas in the 5th chapter. So this chapter has got 29 slokas and Krishna is giving us a lot of knowledge about why we should offer to Krishna. Everything as an offering unto Krishna. And also Krishna is teaching us that he is not responsible for anything what we do in this world. So many times we say that devotees ask the question that why Krishna is making me to suffer in this world, like that we ask that question. Why Krishna is not helping? Why Krishna is making me to suffer or struggle in this way, like that? So that is not a right question because Krishna is actually not doing anything. Krishna is above the modes of nature. We need to understand that when Krishna is above the modes of nature, he is not forced to do anything. That's what is very important. See, when we are under the modes of nature, under the control of the 3 modes of material nature, we are forced to act. But Krishna is not forced to act. So Krishna, in fact, the 3 modes of material nature are controlled by Krishna. But Krishna is not controlled by the modes of nature. So that means Krishna cannot differentiate between different people like that. I like him or I don't like him, not like that. Because, of course, Krishna likes the devotees. Because the reason Krishna likes the devotees means because these devotees are going to go back to him. That's why they are able to get Krishna's help. They are able to receive the mercy of Krishna, the prasadam. That's what is very important. So that prasadam means it is mercy. So that prasadam, tvat prasadat maya achyuta. So nashto moha gata sandega. So nashto moha gata sandega. So everything Arjuna was telling them. Sitosmi gata sandega. So tvat prasadat maya achyuta. So by your mercy. So by your mercy means tvat prasadat. By your mercy, that prasadam, so that Krishna's mercy is equally given to everyone. So Krishna is not showing any partiality when he gives his mercy to everyone. But the problem is that we are not able to receive Krishna's mercy because we are blocking it. So Krishna is saying very clearly that anyone who is able to free themselves from the raga and dvesha. So that is from the attachment and aversion. Raga and dvesha. So that means we will be able to control our senses. If you don't have any attachment and aversion, raga and dvesa, raga dvesa vimuktaistu, so then we will be able to control our senses. So raga dvesa मुक्तैस्तु विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवसैः विधेयात्मा prasadam adhigacchati. So that prasadam, the mercy, the complete mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So we will be able to receive only when we are able to control our senses. So controlling our senses, it depends upon us. Krishna is the master of senses. Krishna is the Rishikesha. So Rishikesha means Krishna is the master of all the senses. So in order to control our senses, we need to focus. We need to focus our mind on Krishna, who is the master of senses. So if we focus our mind on Krishna, then we will be able to control our senses. Then we will be able to receive the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So that is the way we can open the gates to receive Krishna's mercy. So that means we will be able to receive Krishna's mercy, even though Krishna's mercy is equally available to everyone. Krishna is not showing any partiality. So Krishna is very clearly saying in Bhagavad Gita that I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. Samoham sarva bhutesu name dvesho asti na priyagam. But ye bhajanti thu mam bhaktya mayi tetesu chapyaham. So, but if anyone who worships me with devotion, so they live in me, I live in them. That's what Krishna is saying. So that means if we open our mind, we need to open our mind, then we will be able to receive Krishna's mercy. If we close our mind, we will not be able to receive Krishna's mercy. That prasadam we won't be able to receive. So that means we need to focus our mind on Krishna. So then when our mind is connected with Krishna, then Krishna is actually giving us that mercy. We will be able to receive that mercy from Krishna. So then that means our mind is completely tuned to Krishna, completely focused on Krishna. So that means we are not thinking about anything in this material world. We don't have any time to think about anything in this material world. Because we are fully focusing our mind on Krishna, Krishna only. By Krishna's causeless mercy, when we are able to fully focus our mind on Krishna, so then we will be able to receive Krishna's mercy, the prasada. So when we get Krishna's mercy, then we will be able to free ourselves from all the troubles. So that way we cannot blame Krishna for our suffering in this material way. So that is the point we need to understand very, very well. We cannot blame Krishna at all. And the soul is also not doing anything. We are also not doing anything. So we are not the doer. We are inside this body. This body is a machine and this body is acting, and we are thinking that I am doing it. Let me take it. Let me do this. I will do this. I will do that. But in reality, I am not doing anything. Everything is done by the three modes of material nature. So that concept, that science, we need to understand very, very clearly from Bhagavad Gita. Everything is carried out only by the three modes of material nature. So now we understand that we are the soul and Krishna is the super soul, Krishna is Paramatma, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and we are the soul. But we have taken this material body, or we are put inside this soul is caged inside this material body. So we are put inside, like we are putting a prisoner inside a jail in a cell, and then just you lock it. So when you lock it, that person is just stuck inside that cell. So like that, the soul is actually stuck inside this material body, put inside this material body, and is completely locked inside this body. The soul is not free now. So we are not free. So we are within this body. That's it. So depending upon whatever body the soul is put inside, so we will have to do activities according to that body. That's it. If we get a body of a bird, so then we can fly. Or if we can get a body of fish, then we can swim in the ocean. So, but all other bodies, all other different bodies, they are not at all helpful to realize the self. They will just do everything according to its nature. So each and every body, you can only do certain things with that body. That's it. There are limitations. We cannot fly. We cannot swim ourselves in the middle of the ocean. We cannot go to the deeper portion of the ocean and swim like the fish can do. So we have got a human body. So, but we can use this body to ask the question, who am I? This question of who am I can be asked by us with this body. Because the soul has got this body, we are able to ask that question. We need to understand that it's all because of what type of body we are getting it. That's what is very important. So with the human body, we are very intellectuals and we can ask question like, what is the goal of life? Why I am suffering? We can ask the question, why I am suffering, why I am struggling, and why I am dying, and what is the goal of life, and is there life after death? So all such questions we can ask. Because we have got this human body. That's the main reason. Because we have got the human brain. So with this human brain, we are able to ask such questions. That means we need to effectively make use of this body. If you don't make use of this body, so then it's waste. So if we don't make use of this body to free ourselves from this body, from ourselves from this world, if we don't make use of this body to understand Bhagavad Gita, that's what is very important. The song of God, the science, the king of knowledge. So the most confidential knowledge, the purest knowledge. So if you don't use this body to gain this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, so that means we are wasting this life. We are wasting a great opportunity what we have got. So that way, this is an opportunity. We are not assured next time to get another human body if we don't use it. So then we may not get another human body. So that way, we have got a working body. The body is working. The senses are working. We are able to see, hear, smell, taste, touch, all such things. So now is the right time to make use of this body to gain this knowledge, this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, which is the song of God, Krishna's songs. So we need to gain, understand that we are not the body, we are the soul, and Krishna is the super soul. And we need to connect with Krishna. We need to focus our mind on Krishna, and we need to use this body to purify ourselves, the soul. First of all, why the soul is put inside this body? So that's the question. Why the soul is caged inside this material body? Because we have got the material body, we are suffering. Because we have taken birth in this material world, we are suffering. So that birth itself is suffering. And then old age, disease and death, janma, mritu, jara, vyadi, dukkha, all those things is coming to our body. All those things we are struggling and suffering. The soul is experiencing all those things because of this because of this body what we have got. So that means there is something wrong with us. That's why we are put inside this body. And what is that thing? Because of our ahankara. Because of the false ego, ahankara. So because we are not able to connect ourselves with Krishna, and because we think that everything is done by us, and we try to own everything, we try to enjoy everything away from Krishna because of forgetfulness of Krishna. Because we ignore Krishna and forget Krishna, and we are suffering in this material world. So that is the reason we are inside this body. Otherwise, there is no need for us to take birth in this material world at all. We don't have to take the material body at all. So because of our ahankara, we are forced inside this body by the three modes of material nature. So these three modes of material nature is giving us birth in this material world. So we are struggling and suffering in this material world because of these three modes of material nature. So now we need to figure it out about how to free ourselves from these three modes of material nature. So that is possible only by surrendering unto Krishna. There is no other way. Only by rendering devotional service unto Krishna. There is no other way. Simply there is no other way. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that this is the only way one can free oneself from the three modes of material nature. That's what is very important. So we need to surrender unto Krishna. That is the only thing. Then we are freed from the three modes of material nature. So how we will surrender unto Krishna? That means we need to know about Krishna. We need to know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead without any doubt. So that means we need to get this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. We need to listen to Krishna. We need to understand what Krishna is telling us. So we need to get the complete instructions and guidance from this Bhagavad Gita and then follow in our life. So that is the way we can show, we can prove that we are surrendering unto Krishna. So then by Krishna's mercy, we will be freed from the three modes of material nature. So now our way is very clear. We know it. Now we know exactly what to do. So we just have to study and understand this Bhagavad Gita fully and then follow what Krishna says in this Bhagavad Gita. Follow what Krishna says. That's it. If we just follow what Krishna says, we are going to free ourselves from the three modes of material nature and we'll go to Krishna. And Krishna is saying at the end that you just give this knowledge to everyone, you will come to me, there is no doubt about it. That's what that sloka is saying, and I'm almost repeating every day. So we just have to give this knowledge to others. So we are gaining this knowledge. We are getting this knowledge. We are understanding that we are not the body, we are the soul. And we need to let others also gain this knowledge. Let others also understand and benefit from this knowledge. So that service, if we take it very, very seriously, if we do that service, so then by Krishna's causeless mercy, we will go to Krishna's will. So our ultimate goal is only to remember Krishna at the time of death, nothing else. So that means we need to remember Krishna all the time. Then only we can remember Krishna at the time of death. So that's what Krishna is teaching us in Bhagavad Gita, what we studied. So in the 5th chapter, 18 shlokas we studied, Krishna said that in the 15th shloka, that in the 14th shloka we studied that Krishna has said that I'm not like you are not responsible for anything, only Swabhava is doing everything. And then in the 15th shloka, Krishna said that in the 5th chapter, so everything, I'm not responsible for anything because your knowledge is covered by ignorance. So that's why you are doing everything. So nadate kasyachit papam nacheva sukritam vibhu, because the ajnane navritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantamaga. That's what we studied. So in the 16th shloka, what we studied, Krishna said that for those whose ignorance is destroyed by the knowledge, then the knowledge is like the rising sun, which actually destroys all the darkness. So like that, this knowledge reveals everything. So we will be free from ignorance. So that's what Krishna is saying, that Tesam Aditya Vajnanam Prakasayadi Tatparam. That's what we studied. So then we studied Tadbuddhayaga Tadatmanaga Tannistaga Tatparayanaga Gachanti Apunaravrittum Jnana Nirduta Kalmashaka. That's what we studied. So we need to surrender unto that Krishna, that Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then we will go to Him. So with the knowledge, all our misgivings, all our ignorance, everything will be completely dispelled. So that's what we studied. So then in the last sloka, what we studied last week, in the 18th sloka, Krishna says that Vidya Vinaya Sampanni Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Chaiva Swapakecha Panditaga Samadarshinaga. So a Pandita, with the virtue of this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, will see with equal vision. A Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, everyone equally. That's what a Pandita will see. So that's what we studied, because a Pandita will see only the soul inside the body. Soul and super soul. So now in the slokas, what we are covering today, in the 19th sloka, Krishna is teaching us that very important slokas, all these things. So, ihaivatayir jitaga sargo yesham samye stitham managa nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmad brahmani te sthitaga. Ihaivatayir jitaga sargo. In this life, so in this life itself, if we are able to conquer the birth, so jitaga sargo means the birth and death. We are created. So we are taking birth in this material world. So jitaga means we are winning. So we are conquering. So that means we are no longer forced to accept material body. So that's why ihaiva te jitaga sargav yesham samye sthitam managa nirdosham gi samam brahma. Those who are free from all faults and who have achieved that Brahman status. So that's what Nirdosangi is samam. They have achieved that samatvam. Samam, samatvam, all those things we studied in the past, that equanimity. So that's what tasmat brahmani te sthitaga. So therefore they are situated in the Brahman status. Brahmani te sthitaga. So that's what Brahmani means in the supreme. So we are already achieving that quality, that qualification, that we can live in Goloka, we can live in Krishna's well. So we need to go to Krishna's well. So we need to go there. So we need to achieve those qualifications. So that is possible in this life itself. So everything is possible only with this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. That's what is very, very important. So with Bhagavad Gita knowledge, we are going to go to Krishna. There is no doubt about it. So that's what Krishna is teaching us. So that means Krishna is saying that those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. So then in the next sloka, in the sloka number 20, Krishna is saying that in the 5th chapter, Na pragrishyet priyam prapya nodvijet prapya cha priyam stira buddhi asammudo brahmaved brahmani stitaha. So na pragrishyet priyam prapya. So when we get what we want, one should not rejoice too much. One should not be jumping around. So one is not elated when there is happiness, when we get what we want. Na pragrishyet priyam prapya. No dvijayet prapya cha apriyam. So apriyam means when we get what we don't want. So prapya means when we get, apriyam means what we don't want, what we don't like. So that way at that time one should not be disturbed. No udvajayet. So no dvijayet. Udvajayet. Then means one should not be disturbed. One should not be agitated. So then sthira buddhi asammodo. So sthira buddhi, with steady intelligence, without any confusion, without any bewilderment. So with steady intelligence, so unbewildered. So sthira buddhi asammodo brahmavid brahmani sthitaga. So he is the knower of Brahma and he is situated in Brahma. So he knows the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, and he is situated in the Brahman status. So he is eligible to enter into Krishna's well. Brahma Nirvanam Richati. So that's what is known as Brahma Nirvana. So that way Krishna is saying that a person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant, nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the signs of God, is already situated in transcendence. So all these things, again, it is possible only by getting this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. That's what we are getting. We are getting this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. With this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, all these things are going to be possible. So in the next verse, in the sloka number 51, Krishna is teaching us that Bhagyasparseshva sattatma vindati atmani yat sukham sa brahma yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam ashnute. Bhagyasparseshva asaktatma, one who is not attached to external sense enjoyment. That's what Bhagyasparsa. Bhagyasparsa means with our senses, the sense of touching something soft, or the sense of smelling something we like, or the sense of hearing something, and the sense of tasting, all those things. So the sense of seeing, all these senses, there are sense objects. So one who is not attached to such sense objects. So Bhagyasparsa, such external sense pleasure. So external sense enjoyment. So one who is not attached to that and who is able to achieve, who is able to experience happiness within the self. Vindadi atmani yat sukham. Atmani means within the self. Atmani yat sukham. Who is able to experience happiness within the self. Sa Brahma Yoga Yuktatma Sukham Akshayam Ashnudi. So he is situated in the Brahma Yoga. Sa Brahma Yoga Yuktatma. So Sukham Akshayam Ashnudi. He experiences unlimited happiness. Sukham Akshayam Ashnute. Akshayam means unlimited. So Sukham Akshayam Ashnute means he experiences unlimited happiness. That's what Krishna is saying. So Bhagyasparse Swasaktatma Vindati Atmani Yat Sukham Sa Brahma Yoga Yuktatma Sukham Akshayam Ashnute. So now in the next sloka, Krishna is continuing in this sloka number 22. Yegi samsparsaja boga dukkayonaya evate Adyantavantaka kaunteya nateshu ramate budaga. So that samsparsaja, again, that enjoyment which we get from the external, the contact of the senses and the sense objects. So that's what the contact between the senses and sense objects. So when we contact something, so when we touch something soft, so then there are touch sensors in our skin. So they are conducting the nerve impulses to the brain. So basically, action potentials are generated that goes to the brain. So that then we are experiencing some enjoyment. So similarly, when we taste something, there are taste buds. So there is chemoreceptors are there in our tongue. So we are able to get the taste. It goes to it gets converted as electrical signals and it goes to the brain. So then we are sweet, also taste we are experiencing. So these are all samsparsaja. Samsparsaja means these are all produced. This kind of taste, this kind of seeing something, this kind of experience, it's all produced only when the senses are getting in contact with the sense objects. So that's what samsparsaja bhoga. So bhoga means that enjoyment. So that enjoyment when the senses are getting in contact with the sense objects. So Krishna is teaching us very, very clearly that they are the source for our distress. Dukkha yoneya evati. Dukkha yoneya. So they are the source. Yoneya means the source of our distress. We think that really we are enjoying, but we are actually, there is a source of our distress. We are going to suffer. So by enjoying this material sense objects, nobody can really enjoy. Really, it is a suffering. It is a distress. That's what in the 18th chapter, Krishna says that kind of happiness which looks like nectar in the beginning, but it is poison at the end. That is the happiness in the mode of passion. Whereas the happiness which looks like poison in the beginning, but nectar at the end, so that is the mode of goodness. So it may look very difficult for us to give up all this attachment to the sense objects. It may seem very difficult how to give it up. We are so much attached, how to give it up. When we ask devotees, when we talk about this, it all looks like very difficult thing to do. But really, if you are able to do that, we are experiencing a higher taste. So there's a real enjoyment. So we are getting the happiness. So that's what Krishna is saying then. Egi samsparsa jabhoga dukkha yoneya evate adyantavantaka kaunteya. So it has got beginning and end. Adi and Anta. Adi means beginning and Anta means end. So Adi Antavantaka Kaunteya. So this so-called material sense enjoyment, it has got both beginning and end, Adi and Anta, and it is the source of our distress. So it is Dukkha Yoneya Evate, Adi Antavantaka Kaunteya, Nateshu Ramate Bhutagam. An intelligent person does not take participation in this kind of, does not delight in them. So that's what an intelligent person does not delight in them. So that's why Nateshu Ramate Bhutaka. So an intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery which are due to contact with material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. So by Krishna's causeless mercy, I have successfully finished 22 slokas in the 5th chapter. Hare Krishna. I will stop now and we will discuss if any questions are there. Hare Krishna.